After a lot of testing, I'm confident I've created the best possible Ackerman build. If you believe you can improve it, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I just want to preface this video by saying I went extremely in-depth on the build in this video so that you can understand every detail that makes this build so effective. If you want to skip to certain parts of the build, I added chapters to the video for you to skip to. Pros: high damage, consistent crits, effectively immortal, no gas or blade issues, extremely fast, fast mission clears. Cons: can't shift lull. The things we will cover in this video are skill tree pathing, moveset, perks, artifacts, and memories. Just a quick note, this is not a cooldown reduction build, and cooldown reduction does not benefit this build at all due to the moveset and playstyle. This build relies on you being a skilled player, capable of swiftly getting kills yourself, rather than relying on cooldowns. The first thing to unlock is Swift Strikes, the Ackerman version of Lethal Tempo. As a low-level Ackerman, start off by rushing bandages in the support tree, and continue until you have completed the entire left side of the support tree. I'll get back to the details later and truly explain why this is the best build. But for now, after the support tree, move on to the tank tree. You want to max the damage reduction side. If you're Prestige 1 or higher, you will have excess skill points at max level. Funnel that into the damage tree. If you are Prestige 2 or higher, you might be wondering which damage tree path to take, and the answer is shockingly the right side, despite Lethal Tempo being on the left. You might be asking, isn't Lethal Tempo on the left, why would you right side? To explain this, let's start off by looking at the Ackerman stats. Ackerman has plus 15% crit damage and crit chance, making crit-based builds much more effective, and I'll get into more detail with that soon too. Also take notes of the generous ODM stats that Ackerman gets. Let's start off by explaining the moveset. Ackerman doesn't have insane survivability like Jaeger, so bandages are a must. Due to our skill path, we have access to counter and hardy counter. Depending on the mode, gas and/or blades might be a problem, which is one of the many reasons we go left side support tree. Because Ackerman gets a better version of Lethal Tempo, which kills 5 titans as opposed to Lethal Tempo's 3. The damage path isn't a priority for that and other reasons. This video is uploaded before the raid update, and currently, with the Ackerman family stats, you one-shot every titan in the game with S- damage stat, making the damage tree unnecessary. Swift Strikes and Lethal Tempo also have a short global cooldown of 15 seconds, meaning that if you use one of the moves, you can't use the other for 15 seconds. For all of these reasons, the moveset is as follows: Swift Strikes, Hardy Counter, Counter, Bandages, Portable Refill Supply. The only interchangeable move is Counter, which you can substitute with either of the other Ackerman moves, or Lethal Tempo if you're Prestige 3, can max the entire tree, and decide you want to opt for the left side of the damage tree specifically for Lethal Tempo. Depending on the difficulty and/or how many people you are with, Portable Refill Supply might be unnecessary, so swap it out at your own discretion. The reason I stated at the start of this video that cooldown reduction does not benefit this build is because cooldown reduction is useless on bandages and Portable Refill Supply. Counter also has a 20-second cooldown, so it will be up whenever you need it. Similarly, Hardy Counter also has a somewhat short cooldown. On to the perks. As an Ackerman, due to the tank tree being a priority, you will have a lot of damage reduction. Due to this, the best possible perk to maximize the value from this is Font of Vitality, which increases your flat HP by 125. Let me explain why. With a max left side tank tree, you have 117.5 max health and 30% damage reduction. By adding 125 to this, you now have 242.5 max health with 30% DMG reduction. Increasing your health drastically increases your value from your damage reduction, thus making you a really tanky boy. It gets better than that. Back to the support tree, you may have noticed that you have 8% health regen. That complements your tankiness extremely well, making you not need to use bandages unless you have an injury. Next perk, Perfect Soul. Increases all ODM stats by 10%. Need I say more? Next is Gearmaster. ODM control is an underrated stat. 20% control and 15% speed. Remember when I told you to remember the Ackerman ODM stats? This is where it comes into play, further enhancing some of your ODM stats. After these 3 perks, the rest are up to preference, but here are some honorable mentions. Before that, Remember when I told you to go the right side of the damage tree near the start of the video? S minus crit chance gives you 15% crit chance. Ackerman gives you an additional 15% crit chance. The entire damage tree, if you go right side, gives you 18% crit chance. And a lot of crit damage. Meanwhile, the left side only gives 3% crit chance, and a variety of different stats like base percent damage increase, swing duration, and blade durability. At a higher crit chance value, you're getting drastically more value from the right side tree than the left. However, I won't get into the very specific math of the provided values. So with the additional 18% crit chance, you're sitting at a decent 48% crit chance, but we can go higher. Back to the honorable mentions for the remaining perks: Eviscerate and Sanctified. They both give very nice crit-related stats. With Sanctified, it raises your crit chance to 68%. It can go higher, and we will elaborate on that now, actually, as we move on to the artifacts. The best artifacts are clearly the Crown and Handkerchief. Crown, being the only legendary artifact, gives the most stats. The lesser the rarity of the artifact, the less stats it gives. The stats that you want to aim for are truly preference. However, here are some valid suggestions based on your priority as a player. If you want to push your crit chance even higher than 68% and crit almost every single hit, primarily roll crit chance, and you can easily hit 100%. If you want to move faster and have more control to kill Titans quicker and more effectively, roll the respective stats, which I have done on my Crown. If you like to be the guy who can tank practically anything and take Titan aggro, prioritize a mix of flat health, damage reduction, and do not forget about health regen. Health regen will make a huge difference when you only have a limited number of bandages. Only use bandages when you're injured if you're specializing in more of a tanky variant with good health regen. Lastly, we have the memories for the prestige players. An absolute necessity for every build is Flash Step and Resilience. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to re-roll Resilience yet, but we take it one step at a time. The last memory is down to preference. However, here are some suggestions. If you're on the tankier side, I suggest Aegis Surge for the shield scaling with your max health that lasts for 20 seconds every Titan kill. Another really good option if you're on the tankier side is Life Feed. It heals you 2.5% of your max HP per Titan kill. And if you have a lot of health, that's a lot more healing you're getting per proc. A majority of the memories in the game are straight doo-doo, so choose your last memory at your own discretion. That is it for the build. I have a similarly really good Jaeger build cooked up.
So you are my friend.
Bro, I am the Armored Titan. Bro is the Colossal Titan.